What's up, AfterBuzzers? We are back with another installment of the American Ninja Warrior After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. That's right, we're talking the San Antonio Finals Tejas style. So stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
There we go.
Yeah, this
I
is
feel
my
like
move for it. This.
What is it like?
Oh, wait, yeah.
There you go. You got it. You got it.
You can mix it up.
We need like a looping GIF animation of that, or GIF if you're nasty. You know. That. There you go. There you go, guys. That's right. We're back. It's the American Ninja Warrior After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. Amy, I feel like it's been so long since we've been here together.
It has been.
It's been so long.
It has. And I'm glad you're back.
Me
I'm
too.
glad I'm back.
Glad you're back.
We're all here.
We're back.
Happy family.
And of course, we're talking about your hometown.
See, I knew that you would be back today because of this.
It's a very special day, of course.
It is. I was watching the last time we talked about San Antonio, and I mean,
Getting nostalgic.
Yeah. I love you, San Antonio.
There you go. Guys, my name is Ty Matthews. You can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. Joining me as always, she is more lovely and more talented than she's ever been. You can find her online at Cassandra_TV. Guys, it's Amy Cassandra.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. You always have the best introductions. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
You guys can also find me on amycassandra.com.
There you go. I always forget the official website.
The official website, yeah. It hasn't, my headshots are on there, but my hair looks a little different.
Oh, okay.
So.
What's it, how different?
It's actually, it's dark with a little bit of red in it.
Okay.
And, you know.
There you go.
Hair's interesting, but you can see my pictures there from
what a hot
back
take.
Hair is interesting. What it does once you dye
You're
it.
first, guy.
Hair is interesting. You're welcome. But yeah, that's back from March. Those pictures.
There you go.
So.
There you go. You gotta get those updated.
I know. Well, I want to dye my hair a little bit more normal because it's doing kind of the same thing.
I see.
Like I said, hair is interesting.
There you go. There you go. I'm
interesting.
sure it's riveting stuff. Riveting stuff.
Yes.
Guys, let's talk about this city finals course.
Even more riveting.
Even more riveting, of course. We've got our first 6 obstacles returning from the qualifier in a slightly enhanced form. We've got the floating steps. We've got Tic Toc, which took out 43 people on the qualifying course, no less.
Tic Toc, time ran out for them.
There you go.
Tic Toc.
All right.
Make it stop. Wait, don't. There's a song. It's
Hey,
Kesha.
it
I'm
is
not
Kesha.
making
Oh,
this
don't
up.
get me wrong.
Don't stop, make it 5D.
I'm legitimately a massive Kesha fan. You don't got to tell me.
Really?
Absolutely.
You heard it here
Absolutely.
first.
Get it.
That's awesome.
Timber is one of my many gems.
Timber.
Absolutely.
Right.
After Tic Toc, we've got the spinning bridge, the sky hooks, the pipe fitter, and of course the 14.5-foot warped wall. But that is not it. For the city finals, we've also got the salmon ladder. We've got the hourglass drop, a treacherous obstacle from last year that I remember very, very vividly. After that, a brand new obstacle in the spin ball wizard, in which ninjas will have to jump from a series of spherical handles, I guess would be the best, not the best, certainly not the best way to put it, but the first way that came to mind. And each of these sets of handles spins in a different manner. They can spin backwards and forwards and also side to side.
It's like an upside down V.
There you go.
And on each corner, there are 2 corners in the V. You have a little sphere.
There you go. You got it.
There we go.
You got it.
These are hard and fun to explain.
Of course, of course. After the spin ball wizard, of course, is the elevator climb, in which ninjas will have to crank those handles, much like Soldier Boy would, up 35. You know, like up 35 feet. Is it 35 feet?
Yes.
Up to that buzzer to make it to the national finals. Oh, Shao Kahn joining us.
Thank you for joining.
Missed him.
Chef, what?
Shao Kahn? Mortal Kombat?
With a K.
There you go.
I've seen that on the shelves.
Not with a C. Not like James Kahn or Scott Kahn. Shao Kahn. Khn, I think. You got it.
Okay.
Also, not just Kesha, massive Mortal Kombat fan. They go hand in hand very often.
You are so diverse, Ty.
I try to be an enigma wrapped in a conundrum.
That is why it's so fun to co-host with you. You just never know what to expect.
You never know. You never know.
You never
So,
really do know.
let's talk about these city finals.
Yes! There were so many surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a huge shocker. By the end of the episode, you realized almost no one finished.
Right?
Dun dun dun.
There can be, much like the Highlander, there can be only one.
Yes.
You got it. You got it.
There can be. I feel like that's from Star Wars.
It's from Highlander.
There can be only one.
It's from the Highlander series.
Well, that's great.
Highlander was also the mascot of my alma mater. That's the word I was looking for. I am an alum. It was the mascot of my alma mater. It was the Highlanders. It was a bear, but it was dressed like William Wallace. Because the whole campus had like a Scotland theme. All the residence halls had different Scottish names.
What?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. UC Riverside.
Woo woo.
What?
University of the Incarnate Word. Go Cards.
Oh my.
Well, hey, that's
a mouthful.
I know. I know. You're showing up. You know, your college. So I had to.
You got to throw your head up, as the kids say. Mm-hmm. What is it?
It's the cardinal.
I see. I see what it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bird of paradise. You know those?
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Right? It's very pretty. It's very pretty. So you talked about some of the surprises that we got tonight. Of course, obviously, we're not going to bury the lead here. We're going to assume that you watched the show, whether you did or you didn't. Especially if you didn't, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
It's a lot of responsibility, but we're happy to shoulder it. But we're not going to bury the lead here. Only one single finisher on these city finals.
Here's the thing. The hourglass drop looked almost impossible. But so have a lot of other obstacles. So I was a little surprised that even that to get up to that point was difficult enough. To get past those boards.
Well, what's interesting to me is the hourglass drop. It isn't just tricky because of the hourglass boards themselves. It's challenging because of the trampoline.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a tougher bounce than a lot of the other obstacles that involve trampolines, because you're falling from so much higher, and so it's easy to kind of miscalculate that fall. It's easy to bounce at the very wrong spot.
And
like
we saw
who did we see? Who did that happen with?
Barclay. She for sure.
Barclay Stockett, absolutely.
She shot forward.
Jonathan Horton as well. If you bounce too far forward on that trampoline, it'll sail you right into the platform, but that's not what you want.
Not high enough.
No.
That one, and even the spinball wizard. Hello, mouthful. Spinball wizard was a little difficult because all of them are difficult, but that one especially because it's such a little area where you have to hold on to, and then you're swinging all over the place without having any control. Right.
We've talked a lot about how much upper body strength everything takes, how much core strength, but specifically how much grip strength stuff like this takes, and to hold onto handles like that. Especially when they're moving in such unpredictable ways, We'll see, and you get to really see everyone's muscles. I mean, right.
Even if they have shirts on, guys, I'm not being weird, but seriously,
but absolutely,
arms.
Everything is engaged for sure.
They even talked about it was Jonathan Horton.
Yes, looked like baseballs in his arms.
I could not stop.
More Mortal Kombat drops. I love it.
I'm gonna get these references. I am. It's gonna.
If you don't know about Mortal Kombat, we got a long road to hoe.
I knew that it started with a K.
You got it. Combat with a K.
Combat with a K.
Oh, I thought you meant con with a K earlier.
Well, I know that too.
You know that too.
I'm in the loop.
Combat with a K.
Just not totally in the loop, but yeah, you can see their muscles huge, so you know just how hard they're working.
Who else? Karsten Williams also just a machine. almost.
Hey.
But ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous shape that these ninjas are in. And even then, it's sometimes not enough to take them all the way up to that buzzer.
See, yeah, because even after you get past the hourglass drop, we saw a few times people got so close to hitting the buzzer at the elevator climb.
Right.
But Thomas Stillings was one. He had 15 feet to go, halfway there. You could just see, and they're trying. They're prepared. They did their training, but it's just their arms are like, hey, dude, dude, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro.
Absolutely. Even just doing one pull-up. Like, I think I talked about it earlier in the season. I trained at Tempest. I trained in parkour for a little while, and the first thing they have you do is try to do a pull-up. And boy, howdy, is that difficult.
I tried at Equinox. You guys know this. I work at Equinox Hollywood. Woo, represent. And I tried to do it. I mean, they have an assist thing, so it helps you. And you have to definitely consult a personal trainer. Don't try to do this by yourself. Do not try this at home. But do try it if you're skilled enough. Whatever. Anyway, and I tried it, and even with the assist, you can feel every single muscle telling you, like, oh, okay, we're going to do this.
Right.
So to get, it's 30 feet high. And this is at the end when their arms are tired.
Exactly. After they've gone through, 10 different obstacles, most of which are testing that upper body strength, especially the stress on the shoulders and the rotator cuffs, for sure. But you see them, like, gritting it out through those kind of short bursts. But eventually everything's got a breaking point.
That was, seeing all these athletes get to the elevator climb and try their best to do it was one of my favorite parts of the episode, because you see how hard and how bad they want it.
Right.
But even then, it's such an accomplishment to get that far, to even get to the city final.
Oh, for sure. And it speaks to the expertise of the ninjas, the fact that it was hard enough to get to the warped wall in qualifying, and now it's just another part of the course. And it's like you saw so many people get up that wall, move past it, and just, like, not even think about it,
My only worry was that this happened a few times. People started going a little too slow. Yes,
absolutely. And there's obviously something to be said for having kind of a slow, steady pace, letting your muscles recover as much as you can. But as Matt and Akbar said, if you go too slow, that really kind of puts you behind the 8 ball in terms of having to get a certain distance just to make it to the next stage.
And this time it was past the salmon ladder, no? That they had to get past the salmon ladder?
Well, it would depend, I think, on as far as how the night looked. Yeah, but eventually, it was past the salmon ladder. I think by the time that Barclay Stockett got up, she had to get past the sky hooks to guarantee her spot, because that was obviously later on in the night. But I can see you just about to burst. We'll get there.
Ladies, you rock. You rock.
Now, speaking of that, I think that's a good segue. We've got to talk about Kacy Catanzaro.
We're gonna jump right into it.
Well, of course.
Oh my gosh!
Why not? Why not?
Okay.
I've given up on trying to take these episodes chronologically. We'll skip around. But we've got to talk about that. We've got to make sure there's ample time to talk about Kacy Catanzaro, who is discussing possible retirement from the ninja scene. Oh, you've got thoughts.
I do. I think, okay, here's the thing. I love Kacy.
Sure.
And I think as a lady, most of us ladies understand this. We are a little too hard on ourselves. And I think that's what caused her to even have that in her mind. It's no longer fun. I am pushing myself too hard. And for people to tell her that when she was competing, she just didn't look like herself, that she looked terrified.
Right.
That's when you need to take a step back. And I'm glad that, now she's getting her nails done with her friends, and then going to the gym, doing her thing. But I think she has more in her. But I support her. If she wants to stop, okay. She had fun this time around.
Right.
She did not get wet.
Right.
She got close to, finishing, going up the warped wall, she was so freaking close.
She was so close, but like they'd said, she had never been up the wall at 14 and a half feet before. And those 6 inches can make all the difference.
And she is 5 feet.
Right.
That is almost 3 times her height.
Right.
You're welcome.
You got it.
5 times 3 is
Numbers.
15.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean,
God, that reminds me of Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, that's a compliment, I think.
There you go.
You're welcome. 5 times 3. Okay, so she in season 6. This is when we first saw her. She competed in Dallas, and this is when I first really, really, really got into American Ninja Warrior, because being from San Antonio, everyone on my Facebook feed was saying, Kacy's so cool. Look at her. She's this little petite girl from San Antonio, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, okay, let me see this. And then once you see it, you see just how amazingly athletic and strong she was when she competed. And she still is. So I think she just needs to not be so hard on herself, because she is still just as amazing as she was back then.
Right. And absolutely. And I think it's important to note that whether or not she does decide to retire, the impact has been made. I think that door has been kicked open. And I think her significance and her contribution to kind of this sport is there regardless. But that being said, I feel like comparisons could be made to possibly the trajectory of Ronda Rousey, maybe in MMA. You know, someone that people thought was bulletproof for so long and thought was unbeatable for so long, and eventually after a few losses, after those start stacking up, that starts to get to you. That starts to really take its toll psychologically. You know, every year that we've seen Kacy since, and every time that she's unfortunately come up short, you see that it definitely eats at her. You know, she's good at putting on that face and getting through it, and, you know, sending out that positivity. But, you know, it's got to be right there in the back of her mind. Every year they've got to start to kind of pile up, you know, especially after the year that she went out on the trampoline in 2015, I think that was, which was it was heartbreaking to watch.
See, that's why we just need to not have trampolines as part of the obstacle course. Let's just keep it upper body. Let's just take it out.
And kind of, you know, similarly this time around on the warped wall, it seems like more and more, if you don't get it on the first try, it's so difficult, because you've expended so much energy just really trying to give it your all on that first try, that the second and then the third attempts have got to be next to impossible.
Now here's my question, because we saw this in one of the qualifiers, one of the cities. The people went from, you know, back then it was just 5 obstacles. They went from the 4th one right into the warped wall.
Right.
So my question is, okay, if they don't want to do that, that's fine. But when you can't get up the warped wall the first time, can't they go back a little bit and then get a little momentum?
Not that much, no. I think it's one of those things where there's sort of a point of no return, so to speak, that once you cross a certain line, that's as far as you can go back. So you can either try to get that momentum going from that previous obstacle, or you can stop, try to gather yourself, try to recover as much as you can, and then give it a shot. Because
this time it was the pipe fitter that was right before.
Right.
Which is a little bit tricky, because just coming off of that, you're already exhausted.
But at the very least, one thing that could maybe work in their favor is that the pipe fitter obviously is very kind of upper body oriented, whereas the warped wall, obviously you need that strength to pull yourself up once you get to that ledge, but I feel like it's a lot more about leg strength and about really kind of propelling yourself to that point. So it could provide that contrast. Again, I'm pulling this completely out of my ass, guys. Do take this with a lot of grains of salt. This is purely speculative.
It's a good idea, though. But you just, you never know how they're feeling right before. But the fact that we saw so many people do that in that one city, like, it makes me think maybe it's worth a shot.
What, using that momentum?
Just going for it.
Sure. Sure.
If you know it's going to be a little bit difficult. I mean, there's some people that just like walk up it, no big deal.
Right.
They're 10 feet tall.
right.
But it's
That
certainly
definitely benefits guys like was it John Allen, the giant ninja? Not from this time around, but
even Nate Burkhalter.
Right, Nate Burkhalter for sure.
6 feet right there.
And obviously height comes into play there. Height also comes into play on the pipe fitter. We saw a lot of people, I think Thomas Stillings especially, used that strategy of, you're allowed to use your legs on that first pipe kind of on the ascent, and they would stretch out as much as they possibly could until they weren't allowed to use their legs anymore. So they would really stretch their body, putting their feet against that first pipe until they finally kind of let go and had to make that transition.
And they're almost horizontal at
Right,
that point.
exactly. They're pretty much parallel with the water.
What I did love is that a lot of people, if they went out earlier in the qualifying round, out of the 5 obstacles, their goal was to get past that one obstacle that, was really...
And we've seen that, we've seen that a lot this season, where it's like, even if you don't make it all the way through, there's that one that's the bane of your existence,
See, for Kacy, it was the sky hooks.
Right.
So she made it past that. But I'm excited to see her in Vegas, and hopefully this new relaxed attitude, will help her.
Right, hopefully.
This should be fun. I mean, it looks really, really difficult, and I know these ninjas train for so long, and they put a lot of pressure. I mean, at the end, they all want to make it to the very, very end,
Right.
So I understand why that amount of pressure is being put on people. But are we gonna just jump right into Barclay?
Sure.
Do you want to wait for her?
No, let's do it.
Okay. So
No rules, just right.
No rules. This is how we do it here at American Ninja Warrior After Show. So Barclay.
Barclay Stockett.
Yes, I always say her name really awkwardly, and I'm gonna work on that. Barclay.
There you go.
Barclay. She talked about how inspired she felt by watching Kacy, and they even showed a little video of her watching Kacy on Facebook. I mean, obviously that's superimposed, whatever. They did that, but you get the idea. And that's how I feel most of us were. I'm not about to go start, running the obstacle course, but it's great because she saw so many similarities between the two of them. Both 5 feet,
of course. Both
gymnasts, and for her to go ahead and just try it was awesome. And now they're best friends. Like they're twinsies because they talked about how they're twins. And I was like, I can see it. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And you could just feel the support, the sisterhood bond that they have now. When each one of them was competing, and I love that about American Ninja Warrior because, I mean, there's a lot of guys, we know that, and the ladies really do rally for each other and support each other, and that's what it's all about. I mean,
right. We've seen how strong that kind of theme of camaraderie is in the ninja community. Everyone wants so badly to see everyone else make it. When Kacy was watching Barclay become the shortest person ever to make it up the warped wall, and nobody was happier than Kacy watching that.
I know.
So
I jumped up, and I was just I didn't really dance. I just did this like yes. Well, hello, because that's so exciting.
It is.
So you weren't here last week, but I did say I'm shorter than most people, so I can understand how defeating something like the warped wall and getting through the obstacles just in general is insane, because a lot of people think, oh, you're 5 feet, oh, you're 4'11", oh, you're so cute. So these ladies really showed us, that size does not matter.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, and just as long as you set your mind to it, you can do it. And
of course.
It's so inspirational. She had fallen at the pipe fitter in qualifying, so she got past that. But yeah, I'm so happy for her.
It's so exciting. She's the shortest person at 5 feet tall to make it up the warped wall. She's only the 6th female, I think, to make it past the salmon ladder. Also, so yeah, just setting records all over the place. it's the hourglass drop that does her in, but she obviously makes it. She made it past the sky hooks, which secured her a spot in the national finals.
Freaking trampoline.
I know.
I don't know. That was especially difficult to watch, people, because you think they're doing great. They fall from the bars right before, and you think it's going great. They go onto the trampoline, and then whoosh, it just goes directly. They fly directly into the platform, or the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing they can do at that point.
Right.
Once you land on the trampoline,
It's like jet engines in The Incredibles to superheroes that wear capes.
okay, I did see The
You
Incredibles.
did. But it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. The only thing I can think of from The Incredibles is, where is my super suit?
It's one of the greatest lines. It's such a good movie. No, in The Incredibles, they have this kind of, spoiler alert for The Incredibles if you haven't seen it. Came
my
out
gosh,
in
watch it.
2004, I think. But there's an idea that superheroes don't wear capes anymore because one superhero got sucked into a jet engine. And so I feel like jet engines are the bane of superheroes' existences in the same way that trampolines are the bane of ninja existences.
It's like kryptonite.
There you go. That would have been a more succinct analogy.
No, I like yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Incredibles.
And then it gets to
Good time.
quote that line.
Yeah.
Where is my
My
super
super
suit?
suit.
God, such a good movie.
This is all for you guys. All for you.
What else do we got?
Oh.
Oh, Sam Ballard.
Oh.
We got to talk about Sam Ballard.
Okay.
Because this guy, this is, we say it a lot. Obviously, there are so many stories that speak to us and that really kind of pull at the heartstrings. Obviously, especially I know we are especially susceptible to that.
Yeah.
But Sam Ballard, from Oklahoma, my birth state.
Woo!
He always watched American Ninja Warrior with his dad. His dad, unfortunately, was diagnosed with leukemia and only given 6 months to a year to live. And so Sam Ballard, he would watch it with his dad, and he told him, yeah, I can do that. And so his dad just challenged him. He's like, all right, then show me. And so this guy took a 3,000-mile journey across the country, hit 6 different ninja gyms, and like that, especially in particular, really kind of spoke to me. Like the idea of traveling across the country and hitting different things.
That sounds like a great show.
Right? Exactly.
Ew.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like I might have talked about this, my haunted house expedition across the country a couple years ago.
No.
We'll talk more about it off the air. I went across the country. I went to 12 different states in 2 weeks, just like going to haunted houses and stuff. And so this is obviously far more impressive. I love the idea that he lived out of his car and that he showered at state parks and that he learned these different styles and these different lessons and different kind of philosophies from these different ninja gyms. Because that's so fascinating to me. I've always been fascinated with the idea of different philosophies that kind of fill in different sort of gaps, and what one ninja gym can offer that another might not be able to.
What's cool too, Nate talked about this. Nate Burkhalter, because he's currently living in Norway, and so he doesn't really have access to your normal kind of ninja gym.
Right.
So he's using all these different like natural resources.
There you go.
There we go. To get his training in.
Sure.
Just like bungee jumping, climbing things. Like, so you really, it's so cool to think that the world is our gym.
Of course, absolutely.
You can use almost anything.
Right. Well, we've seen dairy farmers before that have climbed silos and basically worked on their grip strength by milking cows.
Cement workers.
Yes, of course. Like Adam Rail. Yes, obviously.
Lots of gymnasts.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. That one's a little bit more on the nose.
Oh yeah. Stay-at-home moms even building their own.
Of course, we see so many homemade gyms and backyard gyms, and it's so cool to see that ingenuity put to work.
Okay. Kenny Nimatello.
You got it.
His story was awesome.
Absolutely.
So you see his daughter Hazel there, looking happy, healthy. But last year she was in need of a kidney, and a viewer saw that story. You know, he shared his story at in Atlanta, and she donated her kidney to his daughter. Like, are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
Just a viewer. You know, we're all viewers watching this show, and we all get inspired by their stories. I mean, we've talked about this. But to me, I was inspired. Her name was Amy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
of course,
I was inspired by Amy because that is such a selfless thing to do for a young baby that you've never met. So I love that story, and you could tell that he was just having fun out there. He was a little slow.
Right.
But he had fun, and he got all the way to the hourglass drop.
Right, and he got his revenge on the pipe fitter.
Yeah.
As we talked about, specific obstacles.
Yeah. And, I love that story. I just couldn't get enough. There was this one little funny part where Kenny's wife said, the world would be so much better if there were more Amy's. She said it. I didn't say
Her
it.
words.
I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I would love to be as giving as that Amy, for
Absolutely.
sure. She's fantastic.
Right.
So beautiful. And he did really well. I want to see him again. Obviously not this season, but
right.
He'll hopefully be back.
Absolutely. So speaking of the national finals, as we said, we've only got one finisher, Daniel Gill. I know we didn't talk a lot about his run, but when you make it look that easy, there's not as much to talk about.
No. Okay, so here's the thing. He climbed the elevator climb with his eyes closed. And when athletes do that, I'm a little scared because that's when you know they're in the zone.
It's the Matrix. They're just seeing it as code.
I've seen the Matrix, but just doing their own thing.
Exactly.
And when he got up to the very top, he almost did not completely make it to the top. He had a tough time swinging his legs up. I really thought he was gonna fall.
Oh,
that
boy.
would have really sucked. But he got up there, the lights were flashing right as he was hitting the buzzer and everything. And I was like,
and that hair.
He looked like a rock star. I wrote that because it was a rock concert up there, basically.
Of course.
And of course, I mean, he was the last one to be shown on the episode. So I don't know if he was the very, very, very last one, but I mean, the energy there. Hey, Texans were excited. I mean, it's tough to make it through the course, and we know that. And he was the only one to do it, and I love that was like the bow tie being tied at the end of the episode. It works, Ty. It works. But I was pretty pumped. That was another moment where I was like, he did it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And of course Brent Stephenson getting so close. So close. Obviously
10 feet away.
Tom Stillings, Nicholas Coolidge. We've also got Karsten Williams, Andrew Lowe's, Josh Salinas, Brian Burkhart, Matt Holt, Grant Clinton, Abel Gonzalez, Brandon Pannell, Cass Clausen, and Jody Avila also joining the ranks of the national finals. And of course Barclay Stockett and Kacy Catanzaro.
I love that American Ninja Warrior went to San Antonio. I just love it because there's something about being a Texan, and there's something about also being in San Antonio that people were so supportive, and we see this everywhere. But especially for such a difficult course, to have everyone's spirits up. You know, because anyone could have finished, you know, it was just different circumstances that prevented them from doing so.
And that's always, exactly, I always think about, sliding doors, like different ninjas, if they had, how much farther or not as far they might have gone if they were on a different city's course, you know?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I also would like to know what happens once they're done. You know, so Daniel Gill, woo, he's done. Okay, they finished rapping. Finished shooting, wrapped, they're good. Now what do?
Everyone go
Go
home.
get a breakfast taco. Las Palapas, right?
There you go.
San Antonio, that's what we do.
Shout out to San Antonio.
Woo! But seriously, what do people do after? What happens right before? How early in advance do they eat? You know, these are the questions
Right.
I'd like to ask a ninja.
Right?
Dang it.
We'll get another one in here.
Yes, Travis, Andre, Scott, Ross, sorry. Travis, Andre, Ross, thank you so much for coming and talking with me last week. It was a blast. Now I have more questions that I should have asked. So we're
Even
gonna
more
have
questions.
we're gonna have to have you again soon.
Right?
Hey, yeah,
There you go.
that was fun.
That was fun. That was fun. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's always so much fun being here,
Yeah,
talking about Ninja Warrior with you.
all these with you too.
Aw.
All these ninjas inspiring us to be ninjas ourselves.
Of course, of course. Go do some training. Go do some parkour.
Ooh.
If you happen to have, or even if you don't happen to have a gym around you. We talked about Earth being our gym.
Jump on
You can-
like trees and
Yeah,
be
jump-
Tarzan.
Jump on trees. Be Tarzan, like Nicholas Coolidge. Be Tarzan. But for now, that is all for our show. Amy, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at AmyCassandra_TV, AmyCassandra.com. World of Dance after show here, Daytime Divas. We're wrapping those up next week, actually.
Say what?
What? I know. And Wrecked. We're still going on for the rest of August.
There you go. There you go. Speaking of wrapping things up, I will be wrapping things up on the American Grit after show next week. We'll be talking about the finale. We will have. I will act this week. Of course, this week we've got this week's episode that'll be tomorrow. But next week is the finale, so be sure to join us for that. I'll also be on the Lucha Underground after show as always tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
I can never remember. It's 10 p.m. You can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. Remember, if you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, leave us a comment. And if you're on iTunes, download, comment, review, subscribe, rate 5 stars if you're nasty. Every bit counts. We want to hear from you. Let's talk about ninjas. Let's talk about The Incredibles. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat.
Woo.
But until next week, guys, peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.